Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the moment that shape who we have become. Our today guest is Phebe Trotman, a Mountain Hall of Fame athlete, award-winning entrepreneurs, and best-selling author of Never Quits on a Bad Day, a book series from winning 6 national championships to earning top honors in business. Phoebe has built her life around resilience, discipline, and international and Uh, intentional growth, but one of the most defining moments in her journey wasn't about victory. It was not making a soccer team at a young teenager age. And that powerful conversation that followed with her parents. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show, Phoebe.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you so much. So, Phoebe, what were some of the challenge or choices that shape you into who you are today?
Oh, well, there's a lot. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about life, right? It's a
Yeah.
journey of choices and challenges. And really, we get to decide how do we choose to respond when we have those challenges. And so, yeah, definitely not making that soccer team when I was a young teenager was such a huge pivotal moment. Not necessarily because I didn't make the team, that was yes, too, but because of how my parents handled it and how they really put it back to me when I didn't make the team. It really came down to
Yeah.
two important questions. They asked me, number one, do I want to continue to play soccer, which I knew
Mhm.
I did? And two, was I going to let one coach just like determine what I did next? And they reminded me that I like the coach's decision was final. What's done is done. That's in the past, but I could choose to focus on what I could control. And then they asked me, like, what are the things you can control, which was my
Mhm.
attitude, my work ethic, my mental toughness. And that was such a pivotal moment because at that summer, I made a decision that whatever team I played on in the future, that I was going to be an impact player, meaning that I would make play to the best of my ability and I'd make my presence known, felt, and seen. And that's literally what I did. And I went to work. I went to work. I put in the hard work, the session, extra training, practicing, sprinting, conditioning, all
Yeah.
this stuff. But that really did serve me well later in life because having that really that mental toughness and putting in the actual work as well too set me up for a great successful career in soccer and as well in life because I learned that at a young age and have been able to apply it to every area of my life.
Wow, that conversation was really more like a tough talk. I'm just wondering the kind of surge of emotion that will be running through you in that when dad and mom were actually more like having that conversation with you. So at what age were you when they were having this conversation?
So I was 13, 12, 13. Yeah. So I was pretty young. And I didn't, and I tell people, like, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't think the coach's decision was fair. I
Uh,
was one of the top players on my team and doing well. So it was very much like there was a lot of emotion behind it.
yeah.
And yeah, I didn't want to hear that back then. It was like, no, the coach is wrong. I should be on the team, all the stuff. But it was out at that point, the decision was done. And so I think I'm
Mhm.
so grateful that I had, was blessed with the parents that I had because they taught those lessons. They didn't just like, go into you're right, it isn't fair. It was like,
Yeah.
well, regardless of whether you think there's going to be moments in life that aren't fair. They're not
Mhm.
right. But the only thing we can do is we can choose how do we respond to it. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm such a big believer in when I say the word champion, I teach people it's not champion in terms of accolades and awards. Yes, that's one version of a champion, but I believe we all can be champions of our own life. And the way we're a champion is by the choices that we make. The choices that we make every single day determine us being a champion and a champion of what I call a champion of our own life.
I think this is really amazing, being that sometimes we might not be able to kind of decide what the outcome is, but we can decide what actions, what preparations we put into in, and everything we get to put into it, we can decide that. And just more like saying what that and Bob was actually more like saying, I think it really speaks volumes to the fact that there's already a setback, but you shouldn't allow it to define you. You should actually more like, yeah, outwork everything and you'll be glad that you did that. And it's really
Hmm.
amazing you just sharing the story that, yeah, after that, you put in work. And now what we are hearing is more of the testimony rather than the setback after that. It's really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. And I
Yeah.
share though, it wasn't like, I put in the work and it wasn't just like instantaneously though, everything
Yeah.
shifted. I share like a lot of the accolades that you'll hear and see, they came later in my soccer career. So that I
Yeah.
got cut from that team when I was 13, 12, 13 years old,
Mm.
and then had the first national championship wasn't until I was 19 years old.
Wood.
University success, 19 years old. So there was
Wow.
some time, and that's the other part of
Yeah.
it, is like putting in the work doesn't just mean you put it in today
Yeah.
and tomorrow
Yeah.
you have the result. There's also some time, right? Everything has its own period of time to grow and to mature, and we're the same thing in terms of our goals as well too.
Wow. That must have been a whole lot from 13 to 19 before you get to kind of show on the limb like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. So you have said that you learn to get comfortable or being uncomfortable. How did sport teach you that skill?
Sport teaches you that skill because there's so many moments when you're uncomfortable. Whether it's and uncomfortable can be seen and interpreted in many ways. It can be uncomfortable from physical, as in, when you're playing sport, often there's fitness and conditioning where you're, doing a lot of wind sprints, or you're running hills, or you're doing strength training and things that are physically demanding on your body and are not comfortable. How do you push through that, right? So that's one way of being uncomfortable that sport teaches you, and you get to enjoy and
Yeah.
to participate in. And there's also the mental piece of it, right? Where there's going to be tough conversations with whether it's teammates or coaches,
Which is,
where
yeah.
there's might be people who you don't necessarily get along with as well, that who's a teammate. However, what I like to say is you still have a common goal, and that's to win the game. So whether or not you get along, but learning how do you navigate that, what could be a challenging partnership with a teammate of yours, right? And that's uncomfortable at times too, because there might be times where you don't see eye to eye with someone. What can you focus on? What can you control, which is your own response? And
Yeah.
how do you focus on the fact that you both are working towards the same goal, which is to win the game or be the best team you can
Yeah.
be? And so, really learning to get comfortable with that. And that's how we grow our comfort zone, right? Our comfort zone's designed to keep us comfortable, but everything we want is on the outside of that comfort
Exactly.
zone, or we'd already have it. So, learning to embrace that and make those steps outside of your comfort zone to grow into the person you're meant to be.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And I think there's a particular quote that make reference of it that yes, every master's at one point was a disaster. We simply means
Yes.
there was a whole lot of uncomfortable that lies between being a master and being more like an amateur just starting out. And this really speak
Mhm.
volumes. So yeah, amazing, amazing. So you have actually experienced more like heartbreaking losses, injuries, and being caught from team. How did those bad days prepare you for entrepreneurship?
Well, it prepared me for entrepreneurship because there's challenges, right? Those were challenges in sport, and as an entrepreneur, there's also a set of challenges. And
Yeah.
so, even though the challenge might not be the same, in sport, it's an injury, and as an entrepreneur, it's, the client you wanted to work with didn't call you back or whatever it may be. It's not the same challenge, but the disappointment can be the same. The feelings of it can be the same. And so navigating successes in sport and challenge times and events with sport prepared me for entrepreneurship because it's similar, but it prepared me for life. Like that's there's in life we're going to have those high moments where it's like yes, and it might be a season or an award or a time or something that's, it's great, and then we're going to have those challenges too. They go hand in hand. How
Yeah.
do we navigate through them? How do we still find something to be grateful for in the midst of a challenge? So, as an athlete, yes, you might be injured and that's disappointing, but what can you be grateful for during that injury? Whether it's your
Yeah.
rehab team, whether it's the ability, other things that you can focus on. If you're hurt, maybe you focus on upper body strength, right? So finding those things as well to be grateful for. And that's the same as an entrepreneur. There are going to be those days where it's like, oh, why am I doing this? But also remembering, why am I doing
Yeah,
this? And
super.
going back to your why and
Yeah,
continuing to keep going.
yeah, amazing, amazing. I just remember I actually more like had from one podcast the other time. I think it was the founders podcast that entrepreneurs, there are two feelings you get to feel. Either more like very high surge of happiness, you're so much happy, and the second one is terror. You don't know what is going, how the next is going to turn up. You don't know whether I've made a blunder. You don't know. It's just that two very well. Either you're hyper, very happy owing to the outcome, or you're more like hyper, more like anxious. You don't even know what you actually more like did, and you're wondering, am I
Yeah,
going to make it? Will it come out good? And I think
100%.
just having a knowledge of the both of them is appreciating anytime it comes into being, learning how to just find a way around it, and yeah, still keep your sanity. Why is happy? Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, amazing. So what does never quit on a bad day truly means to you beyond just the slogan?
The beautiful thing about never quit on a bad day is it means different things to different people depending on the
Yeah.
season that you're in, right? It really does. I mean, a big part of never quitting on a bad day is really not making a permanent decision based on temporary
Mm,
emotions. Because oftentimes when we quit something, we quit it because we're filled with all sorts of emotions. Most of the time, they're from a heightened state. They might be like negative emotions in the sense that we're angry or we're frustrated or we're disappointed or we don't think something's fair or all, and those emotions are allowed. They're part of the human experience. That being said, let's not make a permanent decision as to what we're going to do with that situation, quitting on a goal, a dream, whatever it might be, when
yeah.
those emotions are really loud. So often, can we work through, get to the other side, and then just look at that situation with some clarity, right? Because often when we're in that emotional, heightened emotional state, we're not thinking clearly. So can we
Yeah.
get through and then put on another set of glasses, look at the situation with clarity, objectivity, and then decide, do I want to continue pursuing whatever it is you're pursuing?
Mm,
Because if the decision, whether you sleep on it, whether you talk to a trusted mentor or friend about it, whatever you might do, if that's the right decision to walk away and move towards something else, the decision you can make tomorrow on it, right? It's going to still have that same sense of like, yes, this is the right decision. And I often say too, when you're quitting something, don't just quit something, leave something to move forward towards something
mm,
else, whatever that is. Something that's taking you closer to your goals and dreams, something that's aligned with who the person that you're destined to be. Move towards that. And often too, if you're gonna, I like to joke, if you're gonna quit something, quit it on a good day, right? Quit it
yeah.
on a day where you have clarity, you have peace, and there are those times when it is the right thing to do to quit or transition forward and move forward to something else.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Don't quit. Yeah, in the bad days. I think it's just people. You can just imagine how would Phoebe have got all the award winning if I thought she quit at 13? I know there's a whole lot about this between 13 and 19, but the fact that you're actually want like stay true to it really speak volumes. And it speak volumes to every one of us too that yeah, don't make a permanent decision on the temporary discomfort or with little things at all. Sometimes we just have to go through. Yeah, just the way they say there's a light at the end of the tunnel, or even if we didn't see any shadow yet, but
Absolutely.
still, just sticking through it's really key.
Yeah, and one of the things I realized, because with that saying light at the end of the tunnel, one of the things that's so important with it is to get to that light at the end of the
Yeah.
tunnel, you have to move. If we
Mm,
sit down in that tunnel, right where we are, where we're just like, I'm it, that's it. We
yeah.
sit down there, we're not getting closer. If we move forward, whether even if it's baby steps, one foot in front of the other, we're getting closer to that light. And that's such a
Mm,
key piece of it is doing something. And I do think back. I think back often is like, what if when I didn't make that soccer team, what if the conversation my parents had with me is like, you know what, you're right. It isn't fair. Go ahead, quit. How different my life would have turned out.
mm. So
Or
true.
the many other moments between then and even throughout my soccer career that if when I thought things weren't fair, I didn't like it, wasn't whatever it is, if I made a decision to quit, how different my life would have turned out. And so I'm grateful for that experience. Again, the emotions, it was hard to, navigate, and
Yeah.
there were many other ones.
Yeah, so
But
true.
I am grateful for it because it taught me at a young age, and there are other ones too. That's just one that's a highlight. But there are other experiences that I've gone through as a young child too that taught me about mental toughness and resilience, and just to continue to keep going and pursuing goals and dreams.
Yeah, amazing. And I think it's really amazing being that once you learn how to actually more like stay true without quitting, despite it might be one moment, but that moment actually helps you to stay true to other goals and aspirations, being that yeah, you have actually never like learned the meta model to stay with pain or till everything actually more like turn around. Because sometimes while we're going through pain, sometimes it might not make sense and we'll not be able to make sense about the particular situation at that particular point. Yeah, definitely. We don't understand things sometimes or looking forward. It's only if we have gone through the pain and looking backward, we'll now know what each of those particular points really means. And we'll be grateful that we
Mhm.
actually did. And it's really amazing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. While we're in it, it's tough. Let's be honest. When we're in it, it's like, oh, why? But again, when we can get to the other side, look back at it and choose. It's a choice. We can choose to, I could choose to look at the situation and being cut from the
Yeah.
team as still unfair and this and that, or I can choose to look at how it helped me along my journey. That's a choice, right? That's again
Yeah.
why I say we get to, as champions, we get to choose our experiences, and those choices determine how we live our lives, really.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So your book series include practical tools and challenges. What is one exercise that has personally helped you grow the most?
One of them I definitely would say is an exercise called my dream day. It's
Mm.
all about creating your dream day in the sense of what I always encourage people to do. And I do have a workbook that is available online that breaks it on Amazon that you can get, or major book retailers that does break it down. But I want to give your listeners kind of the gist of it. And what it is it's really taking a moment to just pause and stop and think, what does your dream day look like for you? And everyone's dream day is going to be different. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is from the moment that you open your eyes in the morning to the moment you close your eyes at night, what do you do? How do you feel physically when you wake up, and emotionally and spiritually and financially? What do you do for enjoyment? Who are you surrounded yourself with? What does your home look like? And really just write it all in the present tense with feeling as if you're living it. So this is why you want to visualize it first, then put pen to paper, because having this activity done, I've done it multiple times and I've like added to it and elaborated on it. And I do remember the first time I did it, and I was nowhere near living my dream day. It was
Yeah.
such a stretch for me to do this activity. It really was, because I was like, dream day? Really? I just, I'm building this business to pay some bills. Like, it was just such a different time in my life. And so to do it and then to do it again and do it again and then to live portions of my dream day that I've had now, that I'm like, I wrote about this. It is
Yeah.
such a powerful experience. And so I encourage people to do it because it also gives you something to focus on. And what I mean by that is part of, I think, being resilient is having something to get back up for, having a reason to keep putting one foot in front of the other when it might not be happening in the timeline that you want it to happen or in the way that you want it to happen. And when you have a dream day, it gives you that something to focus on, that you can continue to go, okay, yes, I had a little bump, I got bruised, but I'm going to keep going because this
Yeah.
is what I'm working towards. Okay, well, there's a little speed bump over here. I'm going to keep going because this is what I'm working towards. And it allows you to stay on track with making sure that the people you bring into your life align with where you're headed. The opportunities that you say yes to align with where you're headed. The lifestyle choices that you make align with where you're headed. And so I've just found, doing this multiple times throughout my life, it's been such a powerful tool to help with direction and really with resilience, because we know there's going to be bumps, challenges,
Yeah.
and when you have goals, challenges kind of come with it. But having that gives you something to focus on.
Wow, wow, amazing. I think this is really amazing. Writing it down and visualizing it. And I think there's a particular quote I got to add. I don't know how to put it again. I think it was make reference of the fact that sometimes, was it more of, it seems the brain or reality does not recognize the difference between reality and that of that of imagination. So
Hmm.
where you actually more like just imagine it, sometimes the brain will almost become about thinking that you're actually living it. And you could actually more like get the surge of emotion that comes with realizing the particular goals and aspiration. And I think that is lovely, being that you could actually more like fuel you that to keep going till that particular reality come into it. That particular imagination become a reality. And it's really amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you have excel both individually and as per championship team. How do teamwork and leadership intersect in your philosophy today?
I am such a, for number one, I think because I've played a team sport literally all my life, I love the power of collaborating with a team.
Yeah.
Whether it's, when I say team, it could be one person, it could be two, three, four larger teams, because I believe there's so much power in collective wisdom. I believe that like when we come together with a common goal, whatever that common goal is, that's where magic happens, because people bring their own experience and perspective and ideas and creativity, and we can accomplish amazing things. Now, that being said, from a teamwork standpoint, I believe that number one, we have to be able to lead ourselves first. To be able to contribute effectively to a team, it also comes down to, can you lead yourself first? Lead yourself in terms of whether it's discipline, commitment, motivation, focus, visualizing, like staying on track with doing the things you said you were going to
Yeah.
do, because to be a part of an effective team, it's everybody contributing to the best of their abilities. And so I've over the years have really focused on, am I leading myself effectively first, to be able to make sure that when I am part of a team and in the different team environments that I'm part of, that I can also contribute effectively.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. You have to lead yourself first before leading the team. That was really amazing. Also, for someone listening who actually feels stuck or in disappointment right now, how can they reframe that moment into fuel for growth?
Well, I think if someone's stuck, number one, I would say first grab a pen and paper and just write down, take like 2 minutes, just write down everything you're grateful for. Everything that you're grateful for, from being able to listen to this podcast to being healthy to water, whatever it is, just write a list and just keep going for 2 minutes. Write as many things that you can be grateful for in that moment. And the reason I suggest doing that first is because when we're stuck, it's often we're coming from a place of lack, right? We're thinking all the things that haven't gone right, right? And I've been there too, where you're like, it's thinking of all the things that haven't gone the way that we necessarily wanted them to go. And so that's why we're feeling stuck. It's like, ugh. That being said, if we can take a moment to write everything that we're grateful for, now we're focusing on what we have, where we're at right now. That is enough to shift our perspective. And oftentimes, when we are able to shift our perspective, now can we look at the same situation with a new lens? And when we look at the same situation with a new lens, that's where we might have some ideas on how to move through it, to move forward, to who we could call, to what we can do to help break through whatever we're feeling stuck in. And so I just encourage, it's really important to change your state, especially when you're feeling a little bit stuck, and changing your state, whether it's through writing a list of things you're grateful for, changing your state physically, put on one of your favorite songs and dance like you are a dancing superstar, or go for a workout or a
Yeah.
walk, just something you can be changing your physical state. And also, I believe when we can change our emotional, mental state by finding things to be grateful for, that can help as well. And then revisit the same situation. It might even be talking to a trusted friend, someone
Yeah.
who can, be wise counsel for you, to say like, okay, well, hey, how about, let's look at this, let's look at that. But first and foremost, go to a place of everything that you have right now to be grateful for, and then move forward from there.
Yeah. Amazing. Look at everything you need to be grateful for. Yeah, and I think it's really reassuring being that when you go through it, that will even make you leap for joy. When you reflect on your journey now, from being cut out as from teen athlete or to Hall of Fame recognition, what does resilience look like for you now?
Resilience is, I believe, continuing to show up day after day, regardless of some of the tough situations and moments, just continuing to show up and be your best, whatever that looks like. And for me, it's continuing to show up as someone who can encourage others, to show up to, share some of my experiences and the tools and ideas and things that I've done to continue to navigate through some of those tough moments, and just really continuing to put kind of one foot in front of the other while enjoying. And really, I stress enjoying
Yeah,
the process of it and continuing to grow and learn and evolve. And so, resilience is, I look back over my life and think of all the situations and experiences where resilience is the reason that I'm still showing up. And I know that's going to continue to carry me forward as well, too. And so, it's really just continuing to put that one foot in front of the other every single day.
amazing, amazing. Resilience is showing up regardless whether a good day or the bad day. Yeah, and it's really amazing being that. Yeah, the process is. I think the process sometimes is where the enjoyment is, not the destination. Because sometimes the
Mhm.
destination can just be, let's say, the Hall of Fame might just be for 2 3 hours when the programs where you'll be awarded a gift and then which is done. Compared to the process where you get to kind of pick yourself every now and then, push yourself, and I think the most lovely part in this particular aspect is the fact that some things you can't achieve before owing to consistency and resilience. You're like, what? You don't mean it? I could actually achieve this, and I think there was a particular quote that actually hit me so long that actually made me redefine how I look at resilience. A whole lot of persons who get what they want out of life, they are not, yeah, they are not the best of people. They are not those who are actually more like or hard when it comes to the high IQ or the graduated or this and that. It was just persistence. It was stubbornness with the purpose, showing up regardless, even when everything does not work out. And I think entrepreneurship speaks volumes to it, because entrepreneurship at the end of the day is the last man standing. So it just speaks volumes to like, yeah, doing it regardless of the feeling, regardless of the up and down, regardless of the pain. Because definitely along the journey, you are going to be happy with yourself that you actually did it, and it's really amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Phebe, for my audience want to reach out to you, who want to learn more from you, and get your book too, how can they reach out to you, and where is the best platform?
Absolutely. So with the books, you can get them on all Amazon, all online major retailers. So you can grab the books there. I want to encourage people to go over to my website. So it's neverquitonabadday.com. So neverquitonabadday.com. And when you go over there, you can join our Inspire and Ignite community. You'll get a preview of the brand new book, which is coming out soon. So you can get 10 challenges to help you expand your mindset, your comfort zone, increase confidence, joy, resilience, all of it. And so I'm super excited to share that with your community. So you can head over there. And then social media to stay inspired and stay connected. My handle is never quit on a bad day.
Amazing, amazing. Definitely the link is going to be added to the show notes for my audience to reach out. Yeah, Phoebe, your story just reminded us that sometimes the moment that hurts the most become the foundation for our greatest growth. A single setback can spark a lifetime commitment to perseverance, and sometimes the best decision you ever make is simply choosing not to quit on the bad day. Once again, it's really a pleasure having you on the show, Phoebe.
Thank you so much.